Welcome back to What Arty Noobs for General Disturbance. This is a WZ-131. It's a tier 7 Chinese light tank. It's located on the assault team on Karelia Assault, and it's under the command of the BassmanFromHell. And yes, we're continuing the series of videos featuring the Bassman, and this time he's in the tier 7 Chinese light. Game started. Well, this little light tank only has an 85mm gun, but it actually has quite a big punch because it can do 200 alpha and penetrates 159mm of armor. If you remember, the T-34-85 can only do 185 hit points, so this is 15 hit points more. Plus, of course, remember it's got light tank, so light tank camo qualities. Bassman's moving up as quickly as he can to get the enemy in sight. Oh, he's found one. In fact, it's a Progetto. He's pulled back into the bush. He wasn't seen. Sixth Sense didn't go off. He's double pushed here, actually, I think. He's pulling back far enough so he can be double pushed. And he gets one in. Low roll, but it's still in. He's in grave danger of being spotted, though, because even though there's bushes nearby, if somebody was looking, they might see him. Okay, he's lost sight of the Progetto, but we've got a Centurion 5-1 just over there, and a lot of players lining up on the horseshoe to shoot anything that Bassman can spot. And he's found the Progetto again. Puts another one in, average roll this time. And he gets a tracking shot this time, and that's a high roll, and the Progetto is now one shot. And the Progetto can't even see him. And that's his first kill. Now he needs to motor over to that gap between the rocks on the other side of the swamp, because if he can get there, he can spot for his team and pick up a massive amount of spotting assist. Of course, the thing about the light tank is that most of its work is done by just looking for the enemy, not actually shooting the enemy. Not unless you're very brave, because the armor on light tanks is very thin indeed. That's why it's fast. Well, Bassman's decided to move on up. I think the enemy didn't see him, so he might as well see them. Okay, the Centurion 5-1 up there looking for him. He's popping up to see what's on his left. 704. He's already picking up some spotting assists because he's got 885 already off that. But he's not the only one spotting. The Centurion 5-1 is also spotting, even though he's in the swamp. Now, the grave danger of actually being on this ramp is that if you can actually be hit by enemy Arty, if they're located in grid square A1, they can loop a shell over the rocks down into this pass. So the idea is actually to stay near the walls, not to stay near the center of this pass, because if you do, chances are you might get hit by an Arty round, and if you're a light tank, that could be terminal. He's only got a few hit points. He's not a huge amount, 900. One round from that Object 704 could see him lose the vast majority of his hit points, possibly 4/5 of them, just like that. He just needs to pop up every now and then, see where they are. No, didn't get a spot there, but 704's been spotted, but he's actually being spotted now by the Centurion 5-1. And I think it's the Centurion 5-1 who's actually making most of the spotting assist. Bassman hasn't increased his spotting assist from 885 so far since he had reached the ramp. That Centurion is losing hit points though, and he's gone out of the game. Yeah, he was just a bit too careless. Yeah, he's been spotted again, but he might get some shots on the enemy. And you can sometimes get good shots. And now he's picking up spotting assist again, so he's the only one actually finding the enemy. He's hugging those walls. The other thing you've got to watch out for if you're a light tank, you don't flip yourself in this area. If you rub against these walls, the physics sometimes catches you out and will flip you over. Well, he's going to try and get a shot on the T10. Didn't get through the armor. His spotting's now gone up to 2.2k, so yes, he was generating significant spotting ever since that Centurion 5-1 went down. And he finally gets a penetration on T10. High roll as well. That Oho is looking for him. One of the enemy tanks has actually made it round to the back and to the southeast corner of the map, the Oho. And there's an IS-3 around there as well. But our guys are still occupying the horseshoe. And that means that they can get shots on the enemy so long as Spaceman's finding them. Oh, we just lost a Progetto there. And that was from the enemy Arty, the M12. So it looks like the enemy Arty is focusing on the horseshoe. Whereas our Arty is focusing on that T10. So we need to get him in sight so that Arty can do his job. And I think a lot of light tank drivers forget about this. The point is that they're supposed to find the enemy to allow Arty to do his job. And the only one that's been spotted so far is the Oho. And the rest of the time, he's not popping up enough to actually find the enemy for his teammates. And remember, this is an assault and he's only got 3 minutes 25 seconds left. So he needs to find those enemies. Let the teammates know where they are, otherwise this could be a loss. There's the Oho again. The 704's in sight, but I think that's because the T-34's found him. He pops up to see if he can get a shot on the Oho. Gets one through the turret. A more aggressive approach to spotting needs to be done, I think. Baseman's being very cautious at the moment, probably too cautious, I think. Mind you, I tend to, when I'm doing these sort of spottings, I tend to get hit fairly easily. Okay, well he didn't penetrate that time, but it is only an 85mm gun. It's not a high caliber. And you see Arty just got a stun on the Oho. So now would be a good time to put a shell through that Oho's turret. And he pulls back into cover before we can do it. Just a little tip if you are an Arty player. If you do hit a target and stun it, put the targeting reticule on it again so that the arrows appear above that target, because it does encourage your teammates to shoot at that target and then you pick up stun assist. Unfortunately, Baseman is not getting the shots, and that's the 2-minute warning, and there's still 4 enemies out there. There's 5 on Baseman's team. He really needs to get more aggressive, and oh, he did take a round from that 704, and he's lost virtually all of his hit points now. He's motoring to get away, and unfortunately the Steel Waffenträger saw him and finished him off with his 88. So, not so great, but he has earned a patrol duty. Or has he? Because the team have now only got 1 minute 20 seconds to win the game, which is not enough for one tank to cap, and there's still 4 enemies out there. The M12 being behind the in the northwest corner, and it's looking increasingly like this is going to be a loss. Remember, the enemy only have to stay alive and stop the team from capping. There goes the Oho, which means there's now only 2 enemies left, the M12 and the Steel Waffenträger. And the Steel Waffenträger does not have much armor, is very vulnerable. So, but somebody needs to get behind in the northwest corner to finish off that M12. Otherwise, this will be a loss in 35 seconds time. So it's down to our 704. He's got to push. Our Waffenträger's coming up, but he's just way too slow. The Conqueror's making his way to the northwest corner. as slowly as he can, but he's only got 52 hit points anyway, and it's looking like the enemy is going to win this now. And that's Steel Waffenträger. If he's got away, he might have gone into the dip. He hasn't. He's actually on the edge. And, well, he does take some damage, but he survives it. And that's it. The clock's run out. They haven't capped. And the enemy's still alive, which means it's a defeat. And the Conqueror did not find the enemy Arty. He probably motored south. So let's have a look at the end of battle stats. Well, it was a loss, I'm afraid. Third class tanker for the Bassman-from-Hell and the WZ-131. He got his first mark of excellence in that game. And he also got a 5 for effect for doing more damage than the hit points for his own vehicle. And a bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. But yes, win 8 for the game, 2,847. Now, let's have a look at team score. Didn't get the highest damage in the game. Note that actually went to the Object 704 on our team, who picked up a high caliber for 4,704 hit points of damage. The next highest scorer was the 704 on the enemy team. And of course, some of those hit points actually belonged to Bassman, who was hit by one of those 152mm rounds. And yes, it did prove to be exactly what it said it would be. Something that would strip away virtually all of his hit points, just like that in one shot. Bassman managed to get 1,184 hit points of damage from shooting, and when it came to kills, well, the high score again was that 704 with 5 kills. I think he was sniping from the horseshoe. 2 kills for the Centurion 5-1, who was just a bit too much adventurous, but he also picked up a lot of spotting. Look at that, 2,501 hit points of spotting assist during that game. That's spotting that would have gone to Bassman, but for the fact that obviously the Centurion was in places where it was a little more risky. Bassman only got the 1 kill, unfortunately, but when it came to base XP, he managed to get 593 base experience points, which put him second on his team, but still way behind the leaders, which were the M12 on the enemy team with 931 base experience points. He picked up a Gauze medal, 881 to the 704, 781 to the IS-3. Bassman fired 9 shots. He got 8 direct hits and 6 penetrations. Yeah, the 85mm round is not really going to go through the tracks of some of the heavy-duty Tier 9 and Tier 10 tanks. On this occasion, it was Tier 9. It's not going to go through those tracks very easily. It might go through the side armor. It did on one occasion with the T10. But it was very good at penetrating the Progetto, obviously because Progetto's very, very weak armor. He did damage of 1,184 hit points, and all of it was at close range. He received 2 hits, and they were both penetrations. One from the 152mm on the Object 704, the other from the Steel Waffenträger with an 88mm round, and that finished him off. 4 vehicles spotted, 3 enemy vehicles damaged, 1 killed, and 2,952 hit points of spotting assist. As he lost the battle, he didn't pick up any of the spotting medals, unfortunately. On a premium count, he earned 35,667 credits, got 4,922 from Holiday Ops, total 40,589, and after repair and ammunition resupply, he took away 16,832 credits profit. He also earned 889 base XP, rather, not base XP because that's base, 889. And there was no multipliers, so that's all the experience points he took away. But at least he's got his first mark of excellence. And we'll see how well he gets on with his little WZ-131 adventures, because several of the videos that are coming up very shortly are also in the WZ-131. So we'll see if he's actually applied some of the things he's learned in previous battles. So if you enjoyed this replay, please give this video a like and do subscribe to our channel. And thank you for watching.